Welcome to the Freelance Drive. Here we talk with skilled freelancers about their professional journey. Stay tuned for real life experiences to learn and actionable steps to take to improve your freelancing career. My name is Yuri. I'm a community builder at Code Control and 9am.works. And my guest is Nicoline Huizinga, a human design coach who helps service-based business owners unlock their full potential and create a fully customized businesses tailored to them without the exhaustion or frustration. And today we'll discuss human design and how it can help freelancers succeed. So welcome, Nicoline.
Thank you, Yuri. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for the invitation.
Super happy to talk to you, and shout out to Rachel for connecting us. So
Yes.
let's start from the beginning. What is human design?
What is human design? Human design is a personality tool, and it basically shows you who you are at the core. It's very different from an assessment because
Mhm.
assessments are based on questions, and human design is based on your date of birth, place of birth, and time of birth. And therefore, astrology is an element of human design, but it's based on more spiritual learnings and one science element. And that's where it really gets interesting because the spiritual learnings is, like I said, astrology, it's the I Ching, the Chinese I Ching, it's the Kabbalah, it's the Hindu Brahma chakra work. And the science element is quantum physics.
Hmm.
Quantum physics is all about energy. And the thing with energy is that we cannot see it, but we will know when it's there or when it's not there. And it's like electricity. We cannot see electricity, but when we put in a plug, we know whether or not there is electricity. And it's
Yeah.
the same with energy. We don't see it, but we know it. And especially in freelancing, we know when the energy is there or when the energy is absent or when the energy is even, down to below zero. So, and what human design basically does, it shows you how you naturally operate, how you are wired, what your strengths are, and where your sensitivities lie, and how you can navigate that through life. So it's not like a label like, oh, you are this or that, and that's, you know, this is it. But it's a very layered and a very rich personality tool that helps you navigate life.
You talk about this naming, about the title, and I know that some people are just going through different personality tests and human design tests, and then they have this title and they use it without
Yeah.
even knowing what it means.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Or and that's another thing. They use it as an excuse to
Hmm.
hide behind. Like, no, but I'm this or that type, so I cannot do anything else. It's not that you cannot do it when you are a certain type. It's just that it costs you more energy. It's not like a natural thing for you. So I think it's really interesting to look at those elements from a human design perspective.
I've seen so many examples in my life journey when people were struggling with doing one thing, then they pivoted, and then they just loved and they received so much benefits of what they're doing, and they have so much energy. And I'm like, what's going on? What's happening with you? And they just, I found my energy source. So it
Yeah,
feels like that's exactly their,
that's
they
it.
were fighting against themselves, but they finally found themselves, which
Yeah.
is, I feel like it's super important, especially for freelancers, for
Yes.
entrepreneurs, for people who are working for themselves, by themselves. And I'm
Yeah.
curious, how can understanding a human design profile help freelancers to create a business that exactly aligns with their natural strengths and energy?
That's a great question. The most important thing I would say is that you find the role that is suited for you when you know your human design and when you act on it. So you find the right role, and especially in freelancing, I think it's really important that we do find the right role because it's very different when you have a lot of energy or when you don't have a consistent source of energy. There is a big difference in the type of roles that are really suited for you. And we'll get to that in a minute. But so knowing your exact role is really helpful. Second, it helps you to make better choices because when you follow your human design authority, as it's called, but it's basically your decision making tool, because every single person has his or her own decision making process. And when you follow that, you make better choices. So, in that sense, you get better projects, you get better clients, you deliver your best work. So, you get the best out of your clients and they get the best out of you. And it's basically bringing you the more satisfaction. It's bringing you more um, it's satisfaction, it's fulfillment, and it's following your talents with ease.
Hmm.
So it's not like you don't work hard anymore, but life becomes so much easier when you follow your human design. And then it's like, oh my God, it's in flow, it's easy, it's fun, it's playful, it's light, instead of pushing and dragging and hustling. It's light and it's easy and it's fun.
It reminds me children because when they are playing, they do so much more than just being in a gym for an hour, but they never complain because they have a lot of fun while doing that. And people are
Exactly.
struggling to go into a gym for 20 minutes because, oh my God, it's so hard, but
Yeah,
there is no fun inside. Most likely
that's
there is
it.
some fun for some people,
Yeah.
but overall, yeah. And what I also understand that human design won't tell you what roles you are good for. Like it won't tell like you are good as a programmer or you are good as a community builder. You have to be a
No,
marketer or whatever. So I'm curious
no.
how to connect, how to understand, for example, if you have your human design profile, how to connect it with the roles that you are, let's say, told to yourself you are good at.
Yeah, that's a great thing because it won't tell you like this is the job that's perfect for you, but it will give you some direction. And perhaps it would be nice to have a look at the energy types within human design because there are 5 energy types. When we put in our information, it's the first level I would say that we get is the energy type. Looking at the energy type, for instance, generators, manifesting generators, these are the people with a lot of energy. You're a manifesting generator. I'm a generator. We are the people with energy. And so we have the sustainable source of energy. So when we do the right things that light us up, we can go on forever. The other energy types don't have that.
Hmm.
They don't have the consistent source of energy. So when we, as a generator, we know that our energy is our trademark. Our energy is contagious when we do the right thing. Not when, but if we do the right thing. So, and a very important thing for generators is when you look at, the roles that we choose, is we are the people who roll up the sleeves and get things done. So we are the workers, we are the doers. And that's great to know. But the most important thing is that we check in with ourselves, like, am I doing the right thing? Do
Hmm.
I actually like what I'm doing? Does it light me up? Does it bring me joy? If the answers are yes, then great, go with it. So that's the role that you can do, like roll up the sleeves, do the work. Projectors are people who they call projectors, manifestors, and reflectors non-energy beings. Not that they don't have any energy, but they don't have a consistent source of energy. So for projectors, it's really important to understand like, okay, as a projector, I'm really good at guiding people. I'm
Hmm.
really good at sharing wisdom. So being an advisor, being a counselor, being a coach, that is a great role for a projector because you can bring in your wisdom and don't have to do the work because you don't have the consistent source of energy. Many projectors try to keep up with
Hmm.
generators and manifesting generators.
Hmm.
And what happens is that they get exhausted. they get really, really tired. So, and of course, when they work with the client, and especially on freelancing jobs, it's temporary. You need to perform in a certain way and you need to deliver and da da da. But when you, as a projector, you don't have the right role, you will be exhausted after a project and you're like, oh my God, I'm not going to do this again because it's exhausting, it's tiresome. So knowing your projector is like, okay, I'm good at guiding people. I'm great at showing people the way. I'm really good at seeing the gaps in the process. So, for instance, taking assessments, revising processes, that's a great role for a projector. Looking at manifestors, manifestors are the people with a vision. They have this unique view on the world,
Mm.
but they don't have the consistent energy either. However, they have bursts of energy. So they are great at starting things, but they are not so much at finishing things. So they are great for creative ideas, for visions, for new ways of doing things. So for starting up things, that's where they are at best. But they are not the finishers. They need the
Mm.
generators to finish things. And then we have the reflectors, and these are the sensitive people. Their sensitivity is their superpower. So they sense when things are off. They just know. I always compare them to the canary in the coal mine. They sense when things are off. So they are great at roles where they can use their sensitivity to check within groups or to check within companies, like, okay, what's actually going on here? So knowing, using their sensitivity as a superpower is just a great thing. But when you know this about yourself, that's when you can start making deliberate choices on, okay, this is the kind of work I want to do.
You
Does
know,
that make sense?
it sounds like it's really good for people who are choosing their career journey. So, for
Yes.
example, someone can say, okay, I'm good at, maybe I can be a good manager, or someone like, okay, I'm here good, maybe I can be a good therapist or whatever. But what I know about freelancing that it's not the clear journey. So you have to be an expert in what you are think you are good at, and
Yeah.
also you have to be an expert in marketing, sales, branding, etc. So I'm curious, are any of energy types bad for freelancing, or are any of those types are specifically good for freelancing? What is your take on this?
Ah, that's an interesting question. I don't think anyone is like really good or bad for freelancing, but I think what especially the non-energy types need to be aware of is their energy because
Mhm.
they don't have the consistent source of energy. And when they try to do a project or run a project within a certain time frame, that their energy can be an issue, depending on the project, of course. But when they can take this into account, and for instance, for projectors, when they do the kind of work that's really good for them, when they are the guide, when they are, the persons who show the way, the advisors, when they are in that role, they're all good. But when they step into the role of doing the work, rolling up the sleeves, trying to be a generator, bringing in the energy, they might be able to do it based on willpower, but they may be exhausted at the end. And that's what happens a lot with the non energy beings, that they mistake willpower for energy, but then they just push through and there's no joy, and it's like, no, I can do this, and it has this, the feeling in the jaws of like, "Ah, I'm gonna do this." And that's when you know you're on the wrong track. You're not in alignment with your design. So it's not like this type is great for freelancing and the other is not, but it's understanding how your own energy works and how you can take on the best projects that align with your energy.
So you've talked about generators, projectors, manifestors, reflectors, and I'm curious how it can be connected with client acquisition and marketing strategies? I mean, for example, if someone knows that they're a reflector or a generator, will their client strategy, client finding strategy differ? And if
Yes.
is, in what way?
Yes, absolutely. I love this question. And it relates to every energy type's strategy, but it also relates to the profile lines that everyone has. To give you an example, I am a generator. You're a manifesting generator. Our strategy is waiting to respond. And that sounds like doing nothing. But for acquisition, for getting clients, it's first of all to feel the cue that you get, like, oh, but this is the kind of work that I love to do. And that's when you connect to the source of energy, the sacral energy, like, oh, I love doing this. And then it's looking out for the cues that you get. So, for instance, Rachel connected us. That is a cue to respond to. Then
Yeah.
you sent me a message and I was like, oh, this is a nice guy. I love what he does. So this is great. So my sacral was all about, yes, I love to do this. And then we get in touch. And this is the way to go finding clients, like, who do I want to work with? The people that really light me up. So when I talk to people and I feel the excitement and I feel like, oh, this is nice, those are the people that I actually want to work with. And then I listen to what they say, like, oh, I'm struggling with this or I'm struggling with that. And then I'm like, can I create a project around a product around this, a service, something that I do? And this is how I run my business. When people tell me like, "Oh, this is what I struggle with," I'm like, "Great, let's have a talk about it." And that's when it becomes so easy to actually do it. So that's for generators, manifesting generators. We need to respond to whatever happens around us. Projectors need to wait for the invitation. What happens a lot with projectors, and especially in freelance work, what's great for projectors when they respond to invitations that they see, like, oh, we need, I don't know, a developer for something, we need a coach, we need an advisor, we need, so that's basically an invitation that you can respond to. But what happens a lot is that professionals send out their message and they send out their CV and they are like, like Dory in Finding Nemo, pick me. But that's not going to happen. They need to be invited. They need to be recognized as an expert. And that starts with themselves, recognizing themselves as an expert, and then being invited. And the great thing about that is, since they don't have the sustainable source of energy, it's so much easier when you start responding to the invitations instead of trying to push things and make things happen. So that's for projectors. The best strategy to get new clients is to look out for the invitations. And if you don't see the invitation or hear the invitation, and you're like, I could be great for this project, then you can create the invitation by saying, I have an idea to solve this problem that you have. Would you like to hear it? And then people say, of course, they will say, yes, of course, let's talk about it. And then you have an invitation that you can respond to.
I,
So that's for the projectors. Then the manifestors, they need to inform before they initiate. And the thing with manifestors, that they are people with a unique view on things. So they need to inform their audience, like, this is what I do, this is what I'm good at, this is why you should hire me. You can hire me for these kind of projects. And when they do that, they become magnetic. So they don't have to wait. They just need to broadcast their message, like, this is what I do, this is how I do it, show examples, and that's how they get clients. Because if they are waiting, like, oh, but I should apply, I should follow the normal route, that's not for manifestors. And then reflectors, the strategy for a reflector is, first of all, to take enough alone time to connect to what they really want. What is their heart's desire? their strategy, and it may sound really weird, but their strategy is to wait an entire lunar cycle. So they need like 28, 29 days to really get to what they want. But
Hmm.
that is because they are so sensitive. They may jump on every wagon that just comes by, and that may not align with their heart's desire. So they really need alone time. They need to reflect. They need to really connect to their core and um, their own talent. Like,
Mhm.
is this really suitable for me? Does this really makes me happy? And then they can decide. So, and this is the way for them to move forward for reflectors, and they are very rare. Only 1% of people are reflectors.
Hmm.
But for them, it's really important that they either get invited by others, like, oh, I know someone for you, and then they can still check. But that's when people dare to follow their strategy, that's where the magic happens. And I absolutely love seeing that.
When you were talking about how different types of energy respond to different projects opportunities, I was thinking like, okay, no wonder why I have this idea of help 500 people in 2025, because I really need to hear their needs to understand how can I come up with and how can I help them. Because
That's it.
instead of creating like some projects, and I had a conversation with startup founders and we were talking about the AI stuff and things that there is this approach, spray and pray. So they create
Yeah.
different tools and hope that some of them will work. So
Yeah.
it feels like it's totally not the way for me. So I need to
No.
understand that there is a problem. Someone needs to be rescued. And then if I know that, I can jump in
That's
and
it. Yeah. And another thing, when we look at your profile line, so you have a 2-4 profile. So there are combinations with 6 numbers. I'm a 1-3 generator. You are a 2-4 manifesting generator. The 2 is the hermit. The 2 is the person who likes to be in his own little bubble, and is incredibly good at what he does, but it may not always be aware of it. So especially when you're a freelancer, you need other people around you telling you how good you are at things. Because for you,
Hmm.
it's like, no, anyone can do this. This
Yeah,
is
exactly.
really
I
simple.
feel the same way.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, because you have the two. You have the two in your profile. But then you also have the 4 in your profile, and the 4 is the connector, is the networker, is the person who needs his network, who sells through his network. And that is because you have the introverted side to you and the extroverted side. You are the bridge between the two because you have those two elements as well.
It's crazy. It's like having water and fire fighting inside yourself,
Yeah,
because at some point you want to talk to everyone, but also like, please do not talk to anyone. So
exactly.
it's always a
Yeah,
choice, and it's a
yeah.
hard choice to
But
make.
this is the 4 in your profile. And the great thing about this from now on, I hope it will be so much easier for you to accept that fight. Like, okay, this is my profile line 4. What's calling me now? Is it
Mhm.
rest, being on my own, being the hermit, honoring the 2 in my profile? Or do I really want to be around people?
Yeah.
And if I want to be around people, great, but I'm always free to leave and go back to my introverted side. And this is just the way you operate. So you will get new opportunities, new clients through your network. So trying to sell cold, like this, like we broadcast something and you try to sell something, it will be harder. It's not impossible, but it's harder.
Yeah.
It's so
Yeah.
much easier through your network.
For those who've just heard for the first time about the human design, but they're already excited to start and trying to align their natural superpowers and energy with what they're doing, like what are some small actionable steps they can take today to start aligning their business and professional life with human design profile?
Great question. First of all, find your human design profile. I have a link on my website, but I'm absolutely happy to share other URLs where people can get their free human design chart. get your human design chart, understand, learn about your energy type, about your strategy, and about your authority. When you do that, and that's not like something you can just do overnight, but understanding how you are wired is definitely going to change your life. Because just the other day, I did a webinar for a group of entrepreneurs. And when I spoke about the strategy waiting to respond, I could see the generators and the manifesting generators in the group. And they were like, oh my God, now I know why this didn't work because I was trying to initiate, I was trying to push. But
Hmm.
all, between air quotes, I need to do is respond, see what people ask me, what they want from me, and then I can respond. That makes my life so much easier. So, understanding your energy type, strategy, authority, I would say those are the biggest things and the biggest gifts you can give yourself.
I will definitely add a link to your website and encourage people to connect with you to learn more about this because as from what I understand, there it's not enough just to have your human design profile. You have to really dig more into, you have to learn about, you have to
Yeah.
read some literature, etc. Is there any book you'd advise people to read about this?
Yes. So I've written my own book about human design. So it's called Aligned Energy. I will share the link with you as well. But if you want to learn from the source, I really recommend books by Karen Curry Parker.
Mhm.
Because she is the one who worked with the founder of human design. And I would say any book by her is absolutely great because she is great at explaining how all the things and how all the mechanics work in your human design. So yeah, those two I would highly recommend.
Got it. I wish to have the sky is the limit, but time is the limit. So the final question, what is your favorite food?
My favorite food, oh my goodness, I would say that is Spanish. Oh God, what is it called? Berenjenas. Berenjenas is fried eggplant,
Hmm.
and it's so delicious. And it's fried, and then a little bit of honey on it, and it's just wonderful.
And what is the best way to connect with you?
The best way to connect with me is to find me on LinkedIn or Instagram. Those are my main platforms, and I will share the links with you.
Got it, Nicoline. Thank you so much for sharing your experience, and it's been such a pleasure to hear and learn from you.
Absolutely, my pleasure. Thank you so much for inviting me as a guest.
And thank you so much for listening. If you like the show, hit the like button, 5 stars, and share it with your friend. That's it. We're done. See you in the next episode.